My name is Jeff.
Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. You remember yesterday? June 2nd, 2025. I told you CERN was running and they're amping things up and to start looking for Mandela effects. Got a new one for you. You want to know what it is? Look up, is blood blue? Is blood blue? Like human blood blue. Do you remember hearing this as a child, Gen Xers? That blood is blue? They're not teaching that anymore. When did that change? Our blood is only red when it hits oxygen. It's blue. That's why when you look at your skin, like down by your wrist, look at that. Look at your legs, ladies, with those varicose veins. Blue. They don't teach that in school anymore. Gotta wonder when that changed. Have a great day.
Damn. So for the second time in the world, the man has removed the Indian from his own land. Now, is this a Mandela effect or am I tripping? Was there or was there not always an Indian on Land O'Lakes? Remember sitting right there, right in that circle? That damn colonizers did it again. Took them off their own land.
The more advanced we become, the more science progresses, it gets harder and harder to ignore the fact that we might be in a simulation. So let's talk about the simulation theory. Simulation theory is essentially you, your world, your house, even the universe might be a simulation that is created by an extremely advanced civilization. The most advanced form of virtual reality, and you're just a player in this game. Here's the thing, it seems like a modern concept, but no. This has been something that has been floating around forever. In Hinduism, they have the concept of Maya, and ancient Hindu texts describe Maya as the illusion that this world is. In ancient Greece, Plato has his famous allegory of the cave. This is the idea that there's people in a cave, they see shadows on the wall, and what they perceive is their reality. But outside of their awareness is in fact what the true reality is, and it's not what they're perceiving. Now, some people thought that this illusion could have an ominous design. This is René Descartes, a 17th century philosopher. And he suggested that everything that we experience could be a powerful trick by an all-powerful deceiver. And the issue that he argued is we would never have any way of knowing. Now, simulation theory is a very expansive topic. There's many different ideas of different types of simulation. Are we captive within a simulation? Are we participators in the simulation? Are we the creators of the simulation? There's technological simulations that people think about when they think about simulation theory, essentially a very powerful piece of technology that we're participating in. There is biological simulations where higher forms of consciousness or beings created life to observe, see how we progress. We could just be an experiment in a controlled environment, similar to like the zoo hypothesis or zoo theory that you may have heard of. This could be a spiritual simulation. The idea that we jump into the simulation to play different roles, if you will, the purpose being for us to learn, grow, expand our consciousness. Then there's different theories about psychological simulation. Think of like solipsism. The idea that the only thing that you can 100% know to be true is your own consciousness. And everything outside of you could just be a figment of your imagination, a projection of your consciousness. In fact, you watching this right now is just me. You're imagining me making this video, posting it on TikTok, and it's all for your benefit because you are the only thing that's real. Very trippy. Is it true? I don't know. How would we know? But the thing I love about simulation theory is the fact that it is one of the few ideas that can connect science, technology, philosophy, and spirituality. You can attack it from all these different angles, and let me tell you, the evidence is pretty freaking compelling. And that's what this whole series is about. We're going to look at the evidences, the ideas, the theories, go down many different thought exercises because this rabbit hole is deep. And right now I've got about 75 videos queued up. So there's going to be a lot of content. So make sure you're following. By nature of the algorithms, sometimes TikTok videos do well, sometimes they don't, and it's all dependent on the hook, watch time, different things like that. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of these videos, please follow me on Instagram as well. It's a little bit more predictable over there that you'll be able to see all of them. It's linked on my page. I hope you guys are ready to dive in. See ya.
Unreal Engine 5.1 pretty much proves we're living in a simulation. I mean, just look at it. These graphics just keep getting better and they're seriously starting to trick my brain. According to simulation theory, if we ever get to a point in which we can't tell video game graphics apart from reality, and we're clearly starting to get there, then that essentially 100% confirms we are currently living in a simulation. The idea here is that any civilization advanced enough to create a VR world that is a one-to-one replica to reality will inevitably make such a simulation of the entire universe, complete with sentient life that believes itself to be real, just like you and me. So if we end up making a simulation that is a one-to-one replica of reality, including planets, humans, physics, the entire universe, then that simulation that we make is also guaranteed to make its own simulations into what's simulated after us. Think simulation meets Inception, a simulation inside of a simulation. So then if that's the case, this pattern of creating simulations within simulations will repeat forever inside this inevitable simulation chain. So then after all this infinite simulation nonsense, we essentially have one base reality and an infinite amount of simulated realities. Which means the chances of this current reality we're living in is the base reality is 1 over infinity. Which for those of you who don't understand math, 1 over infinity is 0%. So there is a 0% chance that we're living in the base reality, which is the only real reality, and a 100% chance that we're living in a simulated one. Yo, did that make sense? Because I don't even know this rabbit hole we just went down. Unplug from the Matrix, bro.
Yet again, another awesome UFO video coming from one of my followers. This is her name, it's UFO Girly, and I saved the video so you'll see the watermark, but she's using a night vision device. So this one's cool because you literally watch this thing change directions. It looks like a satellite and then it literally changes directions. It is awesome, check it out.
Oh wow. Oh wow, did you see that? Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. What? Oh my gosh, guys. It is stopping. Oh my god, and changing direction. I'm literally so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to keep the camera still, but I'm shaking. I'm sorry. No, wait, it's going in a different direction. Oh my god.
Approximately 3:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, yet another translucent, partially cloaked, unidentified flying object was observed in the sky under clear weather conditions. The craft appeared to be, again, partially cloaked, allowing for visibility of its internal structure and occupant. Through the craft's cloaking effect, an occupant was clearly observed moving inside the object. The figure appeared humanoid and was seen walking from right to left within the structure. Due to the translucent nature of the craft, details regarding the pilot's physique, features, attire, or distinguishing characteristics remain unclear. The sighting presents an anomaly that warrants further investigation. The visibility of the pilot through a cloaked craft suggests advanced technology beyond human capabilities. Further analysis and cooperation from additional sources are recommended.
What exactly did this photo capture? On the 7th of August, 2016, at approximately 9:37 p.m., this photo was taken from a cruise ship and shared on Facebook, showing a large structure that appeared to be rising out of the ocean. According to the user who posted it, his cruise set sail from the port of Lisbon at around 5 p.m. into the Atlantic, and as he was winding down for the evening, trying to look for dolphins on his balcony, port side, when he spotted this structure. Some have suggested that this is a ghost ship in the distance, or a mirage, or even Atlantis rising from the depths. But till this date, no one knows.
What the hell is that in this video? Can anybody tell me? Take a look.
Yeah, that's trippy. That's trippy. Somebody help me understand that.
As the man continues to film, one orb begins an astonishing transformation. Watch closely. What you're about to see has left thousands debating and many in disbelief.
That's trippy. Somebody help me understand that. Somebody help me understand what the that is. Look at no, that's the sky's tripping. Big time, baby, big time. Look at this. Look at this.
The sky becomes a canvas with lines that resemble digital fire or the exposed circuits of a colossal motherboard.
Somebody help me understand what the that is. Look at no, that's the sky's tripping.
You can hear how freaked out the cameraman is as this phenomenon unfolds.
Look at this. Get out of the way. Look at this. Hold up. Let me get another angle.
As he moves to get a better view, the spectacle grows, weaving a web of orange lines across the sun.
That is some kind of an artificial sky. Yellow. Looks like wires, maybe? Look at this. Look at this.
It's a sight that's mesmerizing, but if I saw that in person, it would be horrifying. Was this some fancy CGI, or could it possibly be something more? Could our own atmosphere be a screen for unknown entities to communicate, or perhaps the theories about us all living in the Matrix are true?
The sky's tripping. Big time, baby, big time.
This kind of reminds me of the moment in The Truman Show with Jim Carrey when he discovered the sky and the world he was living in was not real.
That is some kind of an artificial sky. Yellow. Looks like wires, maybe? Look at this.
What are your thoughts? Is there even a possibility that this footage is authentic? Let me know in the comments.
This monster is actually 100% real.
When I first watched this, I thought that this was AI generated or perhaps from some video game, but no, this is actually real. The TikTok video that you guys just watched shows this individual at nighttime recording an abandoned bucket wheel excavator. And it's very creepy to look at. If you have megalophobia, this probably freaked you out just because of its sheer size. Now, the bucket wheel excavator that I believe we're looking at here in the original video is known as Bagger 1473. It's been abandoned for quite some time. Namely, you guys are able to see this tree growing right here, and the same tree is visible in this image, so I do believe they're one and the same. And this is a very large bucket wheel excavator. To give you guys some perspective, this is a person standing underneath it. And what's even crazier is that this bucket wheel excavator isn't even close to being the largest one. The largest is this one, Bagger 293, and as you guys can see, it blows the other one out of the water. That being said, Bagger 1473 is still standing and you can still visit it, so if you live in the area, you know, it's pretty cool to check out.
Brazil just made an absolute boss move in UFO transparency and dropped the receipts on nearly 900 UFO cases. This is huge. So on May 31st, Brazil's National Archives released 893 UFO cases to be exact to the public. And we're talking about sightings from 1952 all the way up to 2023, complete with photos, audio recordings, witness drawings, detailed official reports. The files were originally set to drop on June 13th, but they went live early with no warning. And there's some seriously amazing stuff inside. So I've only cracked into it just a touch, and already it's mind-blowing. It talks about cases like the 1977 Colares incident, where locals were reportedly injured by beams of light coming from low-flying UFOs it was so intense that the Brazilian military launched Operacio Prato.
Operation Saucer to investigate. There's also the 1986 Night of the UFOs, where 21 objects were spotted across southern Brazil, tracked on radar and chased by Air Force jets. So if you want to check it out yourself, there's a website you can go to. I'll list it right here. You'll need to register, but the docs are public. A lot of it's in Portuguese, but you can get it translated. Brazil just raised the bar. It's your move, Pentagon. Follow for more, because I'm going to be cracking into this.
Dragons weren't real, and they most certainly couldn't fly, and they most certainly weren't intelligent enough to drape themselves in gold, which would help them conduct the electricity from the ether to give them the ability to fly. No, that's all fiction, right? First, you need to know that dragons are most certainly real, and they have most certainly hidden that fact from us to hide the fact that we live in a spiritual realm. And if you don't know that yet, well, here's an old clip that will catch you up before we move on. Let's first take a look at what the 1946 dictionaries used to say. Dragons, now rare. Let's see what Alexa has to say about this. Alexa, how many dragon fossils have been found in the United States?
The number of dragon fossils found in the United States is limited. Only 5 fossils have been discovered so far, limiting the knowledge about these creatures. These fossils are studied by researchers to learn more about dragon species and their evolution. While the findings are preliminary, they provide insights into the life and times of these majestic creatures.
So the dictionary says they're real. Alexa says they're real. Several weeks ago in the UK, they found a fossil that looked like this, even though they called a plesiosaur. This sure looks like a dragon to me. And just a few weeks after that was found, CNN reveals that their scientist actually unveiled dragon remains. Not to mention how they're part of the Chinese zodiac with all real animals, and how there are over 30 verses in the Bible that reference dragons. And how my friend Lori sent me this amazing 1922 dictionary that just happens to have the word dragon in it. And let's see what it says. Is it going to say fictional character, mythical beast? Or is it going to say something else? Winged serpent. And if that still wasn't enough evidence for you, just go to the Google Maps and type that in and see this perfect outline of a dragon. And if you've seen my volcanoes are caused from the insides of dragons, well, look at this smoke just billowing out of where that dragon is. Tell me you don't see this. Second, you need to know that them breathing fire wasn't just a fairy tale. No, I'm gonna show you just how easy that actually could have been for them. When you watch this is literally just 2 ingredients being mixed together with a little bit of water added, and it combusts into fire. It's just glycerin and potassium. They literally mix and they turn to fire.
In Scientific American, in 1897, they were making fake eggs. Fake eggs. Imagine this. Fake eggs in 1897. Let me read this. Artificial hen's eggs are to be made in a laboratory. 1897, okay? Artificial hen's eggs are to be made in a laboratory, the whites being a mixture of sulfur, carbon, and beef fat, and the yolks of beef blood, magnesia, which is magnesium, and colored with chrome yellow. Fake eggs in 1897 made in a lab. So when they're talking about all this lab-made food in 2025 by Billy Boy Gates and all the other stuff, they've been doing it for a long period of time. These Rockefellers, Rothschilds, people have been making fake foods for a long time. This is why when you look back in time at about 1897, a lot of people are ill, they don't look good, they don't look healthy, they're eating fake food. And it's coated with superphosphate because John D. Rockefeller at that time was supplying all the chemical fertilizers, which was burning up all the people's feet. And that's what they were trying to tell them, that they had worms because they were getting burned by the fertilizer. So 1897, they have fake foods. And it was interesting too because they also talked about in here that the average person should be a carnivore.
Let's talk about the Basque people, because they're another major anomaly in Spanish history, one that's rarely brought up. The Basques somehow retain their autonomy, culture, and language across every major period of Spanish history. How is that even possible? If the Basques have been in the region for over 2,000 years, unchanged in language and customs, why has every single surrounding culture either vanished, evolved, or been absorbed? Their language, Euskara, is classified as a linguistic isolate and doesn't belong to the Indo-European language family or connect to any other known language in Europe. It just appears. And then there's the hand of Erulegi, discovered recently, which pushes written Basque further back than anyone expected, showing complex expression long before it's supposed to exist in the region. Genetically, the Basque also stand apart. Modern studies show that they have distinct markers not found in surrounding populations. Their genetic profile is closest to early European farmers, dating back to the Neolithic period, suggesting they were isolated long before the Indo-European expansions.
Where they would get together with their family and friends, they would take this glassware out for special occasions. So you kind of wonder why you would only take it out for a special occasion and not use it all the time. This is the same thing as silverware. All the people using silverware when they would eat. Well, silverware is highly electrically conductive. So think about your food. Your food has conductivity. That silverware helps with that food to increase the conductivity. Now, if you use something like iron, like stainless steel, the magnetism of that steel will actually pull the energy from the food that you're eating. This is why people would eat with silverware or even brass at one time, or gold at one time, because it would help improve the electrical conductivity while they ate. You could think of brass, you have copper and zinc, which makes holy water. So you see how all these things are interconnected, but you don't think about it because you've been sold some 1810 stainless steel and all the other stuff and all the other, aluminum, silverware, and all types of other weird stuff that they sell that's coated with a plastic or polymer. So then you're bringing a plastic or polymer into your body, and you're not going back into the original sources, which were just silverware. So if you do have silverware, you should be eating from it. And that's a very important thing. And then when you're laying down your linens on the table, the linens allow the light frequency to go onto the food.
Somebody over there.
Over where?
Right there.
Hey! What are you doing over there?
They just confirmed aliens are from our oceans and they have proof of it. In the Oversight Committee hearing that was broadcasted worldwide, 4 witnesses, including a retired Navy commander, confirmed to Congress that non-human higher intelligence exists and we're in possession of their technology. They said we have UAP material and bioorganic material, and so does every other country, and behind closed doors, they're all in a race trying to reverse engineer the technology that they have. They said they have video evidence of them appearing from the oceans all across the world, and they've been here much longer than us. We've seen the UAPs move and react so quickly, and based on their technology, they believe they're being controlled by a mind-body connection. It said that some of these beings appear to be interdimensional and that a human can withstand up to 9 Gs of force before suffering fatal consequences, but the technology they're working on is producing upwards of 3,000 Gs. Now, this is only the tip of the iceberg compared to what the government is not telling us, but let me know what you guys think about all of this, and I'll keep you guys updated.
My daughter's sleeping with me in my bed tonight. She kept saying that she was really scared of something in her room. I'm a little bit shaky. I don't know if you guys can tell, but So this is the same toy that used to go off in the past. And it's always terrified me since. So I would ask it questions and it would answer with noises.
He was spreading the word that rock and roll was the devil's music, and if you play records backwards mixed in amongst the gibberish, you could hear extra messages that were supposedly demons speaking to you. So I had a whole bunch of scared and frightened teenagers on my hands. I'm a natural skeptic, and I immediately went home that night and rewired some of my equipment to play the tapes in reverse and to show the kids the next morning, well listen, look, I play this hit backwards, there ain't nothing there. Much to my surprise, I played the record backwards and I heard a very clear and intelligent English phrase. I thought, oh my, gee whiz. I ran it back again and there it was. I went and called one of my friends and asked him over to see me, asked him to come over and played it in reverse without telling him what to hear, and he also heard the same thing. I checked the soundtrack for intentional insertions. This track has been manipulated with, was the obvious thing that first came to my mind. I did oscilloscope checks and some computer waveform checks and found the soundtrack to be quite pure and untainted. The next 2 or 3 months I played back the majority of my musical collection at the time, which consisted of a range of rock and roll to gospel to love songs, country and western, and found a wide cross-section of reversed messages that normally related directly to the theme of the song. If the song was about the occult, then you would find reversals about the occult. If the song was about gospel music, you would find reversals about gospel, praising God. Well, it depends on the integrity of the gospel artist, of course. If it was about love, you would find reversals about love. Some very basic questions came to my mind. It was obvious that there was no intentional manipulation. These reverse phrases were occurring as a direct result of the way the speaker or the singer at the time was constructing his sounds of speech. In other words, the peculiar phonetic rhythms and patterns to his voice. I could find no research anywhere being done into reversed soundtracks. This puzzled me somewhat. I would have thought that a phenomenon as widespread as this would have at least been looked at at some level from an academic viewpoint. About a year later, I moved on to normal human speech. I remember the night quite well, and we had a few people over and someone said to me, well listen David, why don't we record our room conversation and play it in reverse? And then my reaction was, get out of here, play a conversation backwards. We played the room conversation in reverse, and sure enough, right mixed in amongst the gibberish about once every 30 seconds were very clear and direct, intelligent statements that were a reflection of what the speaker was thinking and feeling at the time. It seemed to me impossible that we could speak in such a way that we're delivering 2 messages simultaneously. And for the next 2 or 3 years I spent thousands of hours analysing tapes, finding cross-references and patterns, and by the time 1987 came around, I had really discovered so many common factors to this whole phenomenon that there had to be something real to it. Then in beginning of 87, I remember I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it was like something just clicked. And then I thought, this is another form of communication. It has to be. And I coined the phrase reverse speech and wrote the very first draft of my theory. It basically states that the process of spoken communication is twofold. As all of us are communicating with each other, we are constructing the sounds of our speech in such a way that we are delivering 2 messages simultaneously. One is coming forwards from the conscious mind, which is how I'm speaking to you now, and the other one is coming in reverse from the unconscious mind. Well, many of you have had experiences where you have been speaking to people and you, within the first 3 or 4 sentences, you get a gut feeling that there's something more than what this guy's telling you. Like he's either telling you the truth or he's telling you a lie, or there's something extra. A lot of us call that intuition. It is my contention that the existence of the reverse speech process explains many aspects of human intuition. I've conducted numerous independent blind scientific tests to independently verify the phenomena. There's just not enough time in the hour I've got here to cover that.